If you've ever felt like you're too different, too imperfect, just too something to show up and share your message with the world, then this video is for you. Because the thing is, what you think disqualifies you is actually the thing that sets you apart. Hi, I'm Lori, and recently one of my viewers asked me to make a video about being yourself on YouTube, especially when you're working with a disability. So a lot about what I'm going to talk about, yes, I'm applying it to YouTube, but you can apply it to anything in your life. And before I get, into it, before I answer his question, I just want to tell you a story about myself because I want you to understand I get it. I didn't grow up with a physical disability, but I grew up with something that I felt was very limiting. I grew up believing I was worthless. I've shared my story. I grew up in poverty in a loud, chaotic, alcoholic household, at times very abusive. And we lived in this small house. There was 5 of us, and it was actually a fisherman's house, one of the fisherman shacks from the island. It was considered the poor part of town back then. Of course, today you can't buy a house out there for less than $1 million. But back then, the 5 of us living in an 800 square foot home, while everybody else I went to school with lived uptown in one of those old Victorian mansions. So even back then, even as a little girl, I felt different. I felt like I didn't belong. And in elementary school, I was the kid that got made fun of. And in middle school, I tried to keep my head down and I tried to stay invisible. I just tried to survive. And by the time I got to high school, which nobody in my family went to high school, siblings, parents, grandparents, some of my aunts and uncles. So it was definitely a road less traveled for me. And I was just starving for connection, right? For someone to tell me that I mattered. And unfortunately, I looked in all the wrong places. I've shared this, I became a teenage statistic. I got pregnant, and 43 years ago, I gave my daughter up for adoption. And in the early 80s, let me tell you, being pregnant as a teenager, I don't know how to explain it, but like I wasn't allowed to be in the school. I had to get tutored at home because they had to hide it. So just a whole different environment. That's all I'm trying to say. And so from that point forward, I was no longer Lori. I was that girl. I was that girl from the island. And that's what I believed I was. Nobody. So when I moved away to college, which is a miracle in itself, but when I moved away, I thought I could outrun those feelings and that belief. But you know what I'm going to say? I could change my address, but I couldn't outrun those beliefs. Those beliefs were my disability. Those beliefs were what kept me back and second guessed myself all the time. The belief that I was worthless, that I was just taking up space, that I was too broken, too different, too much of a mess to ever be anything more than that girl from the island. And you better believe those beliefs held me back for years. They kept me small. They kept me quiet and stuck. They kept me from showing up as who I really was. Because I was convinced I wasn't anything. I just wasn't enough. I didn't matter. So when somebody asks me about showing up on YouTube with a disability, whether it's physical, whether it's a learning difference, whether it's just this nagging voice in your head that says you're not like everyone else, like you're just crushed with anxiety, I don't just understand it intellectually. I've lived it. I know what it's like to believe you're disqualified before you even start. But here's what I also know. That belief is a lie. It's a lie. And one of Wayne Dyer's quotes is, "Don't die with your music still in you." And for years I almost did, because I believed my music wasn't worth playing. I believed that my difference, my past, my struggles, my imperfections meant I had nothing valuable to offer. But here was the truth that he was always trying to get us to understand. Your music doesn't have to sound like everybody else's. In fact, it shouldn't, right? Because the world doesn't need another polished, perfect, cookie cutter version of what's already out there. The world needs your version. The real one. The one with the scars and the pauses and the stories. It needs you. So let's talk about what it really means to show up as yourself, especially when you feel different. You feel in your bones you're different. Especially when you're working with something that makes you feel like you're starting, 10 steps behind everyone else. When you show up exactly as you are, including the parts of you that are nervous or anxious, it gives people the permission to do the same. You become their mirror. You become proof that they don't have to wait until they're ready or they're perfect or they're fixed. They can do it now. I've watched creators, all different kinds of creators, right? Creators with lots of money that have the fancy equipment, the editing teams. And, I'll take the tidbits of information that I'm watching them, but I feel nothing. I don't feel connected to them. I don't necessarily feel I need to subscribe. But then I'll watch somebody who's filming on their phone, someone like my viewer, who maybe will stumble over a word or just forget what they were saying, just have some hiccups here or there. But they're speaking straight from their heart. And I'm hooked. I'm hooked. Because authenticity will trump polish every single time. I love following this viewer because I can feel his passion. It comes through the video. So if you do have a disability, whether it's a speech pattern or a way of processing things that might be a little bit different, it's not something to overcome. It's part of your message. That's part of what makes you, you. And here's one thing that I did learn from all those years of believing I was less than. The people who rejected me or made fun of me or whatever, they were never my people to begin with. They were never part of my tribe. The people who are meant to walk with you, to learn from you, to grow with you, they're looking for the real you, not the watered down, edited version of you. So to my friend who asked this question, I've been watching your channel grow. Congrats, first of all. And I see how hard you work. I see your passion. Your passion comes through the screen. And I can see that you share, that you love what you share. And I want you to hear this. Please hear this. You do not need to sound like anyone else. You do not need to edit out every pause or second guess, every other word. The people who are meant to find you, they're looking for someone who is real, someone who loves what you love. Don't be afraid to share things imperfectly. Your channel is taking off because you're showing up and you're being you, not some polished version, not some character. You're not trying to be somebody else. And just remember, when you get that nervous energy and you feel a little self-conscious, that's just your soul reminding you that what you're doing matters, that you're putting something real into the world. And don't let it stop you. Don't let that nervousness stop you. Let it light a fire underneath you. And one of my all-time favorite quotes from Wayne Dyer is, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. It's kind of like the chicken and egg theory. What comes first? But the way you look at things always comes first. It has to be. So what if we reframed it? And what if we changed the way we look at what makes us different? What if we stopped seeing it as something to manage or to hide or that we have to overcome, and started seeing it as the thing that makes us stand out and makes our message irreplaceable? Because here's the truth. Someone out there is waiting for you, waiting for your voice, not the voice you think you should have, the voice you actually have. And when I finally stopped trying to hide where I came from, what my story was, and when I was just me, that's when everything shifted for me. That's when I found my people. That's where my message started resonating with others. People don't like to connect with perfect. And just think about when you watch a movie, you're always rooting for the underdog, always. You want to connect with honest, truthful people. So let's get practical. Encouragement's great, but what are some steps you can do to make sure that you show up as yourself, especially when it feels scary? First thing is start before you're ready. And this goes to anybody who's watching this. My viewer has started and he's done a fabulous job. So your first video doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't even have to be good. And it won't be, to be honest. Probably your first 10 videos won't be great, but you have to get through them. You just have to get through them. They just got to exist. It's the only way you're going to get to the other side. You're not stuck unless you choose to be stuck. So just decide not to be stuck. Just keep moving. Decide to move and hit record. And your clarity will always come from doing. It will not come beforehand. I'm sorry. I know we're supposed to come up with niches and whatnot beforehand. And I think you do need to have a direction when you start, but it could change 5 times within a couple of months. And I love there's this one woman I'm following, and she has a niche and whatnot. But I watched a recent video where she said she's going to try something different and she's going to niche up. And I think that's great. Let's see where that goes. I just think it's great. How do you know what is going to land and resonate? Even with yourself. It's kind of like kids. We make kids, what do you want to do for the rest of your life at the age of 17 as they're applying for colleges? Come on. I tell my kids all the time, you're going to change your career path 6 times. And even though they've gone through college, go for that certification. Go for your electrician's license. Don't box yourself in because you made a decision at 17 and went to school for 4 years. So you don't need all the clarity, I guess is my point, before you hit record. It comes through the doing, not before it. Even with myself, every video I've made, I feel my message gets a little bit clearer. So second, let go of who you think you should be. Just be you. You're not here to compete with a polished, scripted creator. You're here to connect with the people who need your message, your specific frequency. Lean into what makes you different. Talk about the process maybe you have to go through to record a video. Share your real experience. That's where the magic is. Even when I started in my corporate career, I would walk into a boardroom as I was giving a presentation and I would want to look the part, professional and put together like I had all the answers. How naive of me. And you know what? In the beginning, it would always fall flat because I wasn't myself. But the moment I started being myself with the flaws, admitting when I didn't have all the answers, that's when people started listening to me. That's when the magic happened for me in my corporate career. And number 3, remember, YouTube is just a conversation. That's all it is. And it's really only a conversation with one person at a time. You're not performing. You're certainly not performing for millions at once. You're talking to one person. And it could be one person who stumbles across your video at 2 a.m. when they can't fall back to sleep. And they may just need your message then at 2. Speak to that person and forget everybody else. And that's how I approach every video. Not every video is going to land for everybody. I mean, I am not going to be everybody's cup of tea for sure. And I'm not trying to impress anybody. I just want my message to land for one person each time. And if I can reach just that one person, that's like air to me. That's everything. Number 4, build your confidence by showing up consistently. Every video you make, you're building a story, right? And you're building that confidence. I guess more importantly, you're building that confidence. You probably will not be confident when you start. Anything you do, right? Anything you do when you start. Confidence comes by starting. It comes when you get to the other side of that. That's how it works. It doesn't come beforehand. If anybody's ever had confidence come to them before they've actually done something, I would love to hear you put it in the comments. When I first started even showing up on YouTube and I started sharing my story, it was very personal for me because nobody other than my immediate family and a few friends knows my true story, knows the real story. Nobody in my corporate career, nobody. None of my kids' friends, parents, or family, nobody. You folks were the first people I ever started sharing my story with. But every time I hit published, I proved to myself that I could show up and slowly, video by video, I could turn that fear into my strength. And I guess lastly, just celebrate your imperfections, the stumbles, the pauses. My goodness, I say so often that I do cut some of them out, and I probably cut 60 seconds worth of out of every single video. But it's what makes us all human, right? It's what makes people trust us. Perfect doesn't build connection. Real does. And real includes rough around the edges. So I guess here's what I really want you to walk away with and understand. And it's not just about YouTube. This is about your soul and your soul's work. And it's about refusing to shrink because you think you're not enough. God didn't give you this passion that you have, whatever it is, whatever you're carrying inside you. Whether it's this love for the outdoors, this desire to create, this message that's burning inside you. He didn't give it to you so you could hide it. He gave it to you so you could share it exactly as you are. Your difference isn't a flaw in your design. It's part of your design. It's what sets you apart. It's what makes you you. I used to think God made a mistake with me, that I was born into the wrong family, the wrong circumstances, that I was damaged goods. But what I've learned, and I think Wayne Dyer spent his whole life trying to teach us this, is that nothing is wasted. Nothing that you've gone through is wasted. It all matters. Every struggle, every scar, everything that made you feel less than doesn't disqualify you. It prepares you. And in some cases, it's your purpose. The pain I carried, it taught me compassion. The shame I felt, it taught me how to see people who are hiding. And the years I spent believing I wasn't enough or that I was worthless, it's what makes me able to look someone in the eye and say, you're not worthless. You matter. You're needed. So whatever you're carrying, whatever you feel makes you different, it's not your burden. It's your gift to share. So if you're watching this and you've been holding back, whether you have a disability or you just feel like you don't, fit in, I want you to hear this. Your music is needed. Your voice matters. Your specific, imperfect, beautiful, real way of showing up and communicating is exactly what someone needs to see. Don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait until you sound like everybody else. Show up now, messy, real, but you. That's where the connection happens. That's where your soul's work begins. You know that little girl that grew up in that fisherman house on the island? The one who believed she was worthless? She's the reason I'm sitting here today, talking to you. Because everything I went through, the pain, the shame, the years of believing I didn't belong, that's what's taught me how to help people find their way back to themselves. My difference wasn't my disqualifier. It was to prepare me for my purpose. And whatever you're carrying, whatever makes you feel like you're too much or not enough, it's not a liability. Make it your testimony. That's your music. Don't die with it in you. I'm rooting for you, and I can't wait to see what you create. I really can't. And if this resonated with you, or if you're building something and you just feel a little bit scared, drop me a comment and let me know what you're working on. I read every single one. And if you want more content like this, living from your soul and creating truth, subscribe. I've been trying to post 3 videos a week to help you reconnect with who you really are. Maybe meet that person for the first time. I would be honored if you would walk this road with me. I don't want to walk it alone. And remember, you're enough just the way you are. You truly, truly matter. And until our next conversation, you take care. Love you guys.